Welcome to the Keyforge Premier League. I am Jupiter from Manlius, New York, and today we have AV8R versus coraythan, and we will be basically making um, a week 3 push here as week 3 is commencing, so we're almost halfway through the season. So that'll be interesting to see where things fall out. We've already had a couple of very interesting matches. We're going to start to see the cream of the crop get to the top of the divisions, and we're going to kind of start to see the playoff race kick in after this week. So it will be fantastic to watch and stuff. So do you have the kiddos in the background? You will hear some noise. They don't know how to be quiet. So it's just what it is, as it is, because it is a Saturday afternoon for me. So this is time for them to be loud a little bit. Anyway, so with that said, let's just get into the games. They're already set up, ready to go, but let's take a peek at their decks. The first deck that we'll be taking a look at is Miles K. Alopan. This deck is basically, let's look at it. It's a Saurian Logos Deist deck. With the Deist has the 2 Exhumes, which is amazing, 2 SoulSnatchers, which usually gets to be kind of tricky to play around. Does have a board wipe in the Harbinger of Doom scenario. Has a snag as well for a good disruption. The Logos set looks like it is being used to just get value. Like it has the Mimic Gel and the Tato Vapors, the Eddy, like all those could be big players. Discombobulator maybe, depending on what the other deck is rocking. But all in all, it is interesting. And then in Saurian, you see another board wipe with the Axiom Gris, and you see the Library of Polosaurus. This is a card we haven't seen a lot of, but this is an interesting card as it moves amber from friendly creatures to the pool. So there's that. Then you see he does have the tribute and the Crassiosaurs. So that could be a big player too. So we'll see what happens with that deck. That deck is pretty interesting, and that's the deck that's being piloted by AV8R. And then for coraythan, we have the Cuperus, the Survivalist of Commandments. So this guy has made it past the arc. You see triple Eddy, wormhole, like lots of value in the Logos. Logos is going to definitely be running amok. A lot of board control with Gleeful Mayhems and the stacked house with the Obsidian Forge, Harvest Time, Rock Rub. This is the deck that we saw him play last time we recorded him, so it's a bit familiar. And then we know that in the Star Alliance he does have the Uncharted Lands, and I'm guessing that any time that he sees that there isn't a Star Alliance set across from him, that is probably a really quality deck to play, is you get max value out of those Uncharted Lands if they can't answer it. So with all that said, let's get into the game and we will see what happens. So good luck, have fun guys, and let's see what you bring to the table. And I won't forget to F11 this time for you guys. See, what a good commentator. You may commence. So they've drawn their initial hands. We'll see if there's any mulligans that are going to get played, and then we'll look at them and see. But right now it looks like both hands are decent. But AV8R is opting to get a mulligan in and try to get a little bit better of a hand, a little bit more stacked. And I don't know if he accomplishes his goal, but at least he has some Logos to throw to the table. So coraythan starts things off by playing a Commander Chen, and it looks like AV8R is coming back, and he is going to play a Sanitation Engineer and a Discombobulator to slow down the stealing that doesn't exist in Corey's deck. So, but he does get the Amber Pips, so the Amber Pips are important. So we're up 1-0 in Amber after one full round. coraythan is going to reply with Logos. And the Logos, he's going to play a Wild Wormhole, which is going to hit the Harvest Time, which is a little bit unfortunate at this point. We'll see what he decides to harvest out. I'm guessing he's going to go with Scientist, but that gives him thing. But he could also just pick something that doesn't give him Amber, but he is going to use it to clear the board and give him 2 Amber. So he does go up to those 2 Amber, so he can steal it back with the Information Age. Pretty suave. And then he plays the Cutthroat Research for extra Amber. So Corey up 4-2 in Amber as we head into AV8R's turn. AV8R is now playing a Festering Touch to gain some Amber. The Festering Touch is used to do 1 damage to Chen, and then he plays Dendrick and Snag. And then he plays the Exhume just for the Amber. Interesting. So going into the into turn 3, Corey is up. It's 4/4, and Corey is up to play. So it looks like he has a pretty strong option here between Star Alliance and Logos. It looks like he's choosing to go Star Alliance. In Star Alliance, we're going to see the Commander Chen get some work in here, get a Reap, and then we'll probably see. Well, actually, I guess you could put the Skirmisher on the Commander Chen and start to take out that Snag, because you really don't want to get stuck behind the Snag. But he could also put the Blaster on with the Skirmish and get rid of the Snag completely. So that might be where he heads. So there's the Garcia. Nope, he's playing the Blaster on the Garcia, but then he is going to put the 4 damage on the Snag. So the Snag is like much less powerful at this point. So heads up plays, making sure that he doesn't get locked into a situation he doesn't want to be in. He will end his turn on check with 6. Moving into Aviator's turn 3, which is basically turn 3B, because we have A and B basically every turn. So he looks like he's going to be going into the Logos house with good reason. He's going to play the Tatau Vapors to try to extend his hand, and he draws and plays a Hospice. He has now played an Edai, and now he will play a Mimicry Gel. Probably as another Edai, maybe, or maybe even a Snag. There's a couple good targets for it. I'm thinking that the Edai might be best to get more archiving out of the way. He's taking his time to figure out what he wants. And he does go with an Edai, so he does get to archive another card. So let's open up these archives and see what he's put away so far. So far he's got a nice Saurian turn starting to get moving. And Corey has nothing in the archives, as we can see. But we are moving forward now into turn 4. Corey with 6 Amber will not forge a key because the Amber cost is now up to 12 thanks to the Edai and the Mimic Gel. So Corey is going to opt to play a Cloaking Dongle and attach it to Commander Chan, gaining an Amber and getting some elusiveness there. And then he's going to play a Chief Engineer Walls. Then he uses the Sensor Chief Garcia to Reap, increasing the cost of keys by 2 and doing the last 2 damage off on the Snag. So it kills the Snag with the 1 damage that was left for him to stay alive, and rids himself of that annoyance. So he used Commander Chen to make him fight one of the Edais and got rid of one of the Edais. So turn ends with Corey on 8 Amber, needing 9 to make a key at this point, and Aviator on 3, needing 8 to make a coin as well, or make a key as well. So going into turn 4B here, as Aviator makes his decision on houses, I'm assuming he'll go Saurian here. Oh, he doesn't. He goes Dees. So he takes a short turn in hopes to get the SoulSnatcher on board and get some value out of it, I'm guessing, and the Wretched Doll. Wretched Doll is not a powerhouse, but it can get some work done here. So he does draw an extra Saurian card in the Regrettable Meteor, which is actually really good with the SoulSnatcher if he wants to board clear himself. And just kind of have like a lopsided value, so that's pretty sweet. It's a neat little trick, especially if you have 2 SoulSnatchers out, so I can kind of see that now. I didn't catch that when I was looking at it initially. So that could be an interesting way to conclude a game. So then we see Coraythan going in the logos, plays a Pocket Universe and a Seismo Entangler, and then plays his own Edai to put away the Obsidian Forge. So Corey draws back up after he wards his. What did he ward? He warded his commander, Chen. So now we await turn 5B on Aviator. So Aviator taking his time. He does go Saurian this round. Be interesting to see where he goes with the Saurian. As he pulls his archive to get a little bit more value out of stuff. So there's Orator Hisoro, which is great, and is going to enable his Hapsis and his Edai, his Mimic Gel Edai. Let's see where he takes those. Mostly the most value he's getting out of this is getting some amber onto each of those, so that way he can protect it for the Axiom of Gris when he plays the Axiom. So that's pretty sweet. There is a Crassiosaur in the house as well. So the Axiom of Gris does come down, and kills off the ward on the Commander Chen, and he basically takes advantage of the soul snatching to basically ramp up some amber. But Corey walked away with a lot more amber than he did, but the Crassiosaur is going to take it back, and he's going to put the Scudam on the Crassiosaur, and then he can use the Regrettable Meteor to kill the Crassiosaur and remove that amber from the game on Corey's side while keeping the amber on his side. So very heads-up play. That's how you do that in this deck. We saw that as a opportunity, and it was taken full advantage of. Well played, Andrew. There's the first Gleeful Mayhem. Gets some damage down across the board. A Rock Grub to kind of pull him back to earth a little bit. Follows up with a Boar's Knit, which can become very annoying if not dealt with. But that Crassiosaurus swing was pretty ginormous. So Corey responds as best as he can, which is not the greatest response, but at least he was able to tax up the key a little bit. Buy him some time to see if he can get into a better situation to change that out, like change the fortune here. As good a counter punch as he could throw, he just threw, so to kind of slow down this process. But now he's up to 10 amber, passing turn back, and he's looking pretty rough for Corey here. But he will take the time or the opportunity to max tax this hand, so that way there's less amber for key 2, right? That's what happens. Yeah. So as we know, Coraythan is the creator of decks of Keyforge, if you didn't know, and he is a very knowledgeable Keyforge player. He does a lot of math and a lot of statistics, and looks at the cards to figure out like different synergies and stuff like that. So you'd have to assume that his Keyforge knowledge is second to no one. other than maybe some of the people that help him, but even then he's probably on equal grounds. So as far as information goes, maybe one of the most knowledgeable people in Keyforge as far as like how much time and effort he puts into these cards and learning them. You do see him come with a big Star Alliance turn. He is able to tax up to 8, which will mean that Andrew will forge a key with 1 extra amber, but it's a good job of kind of trying to reposition himself on the board and get back into a place where he can make more of an impact on the game. So we'll see what happens here. He might even, will he be able to get himself into check with the Festering Touch? I think so, yeah, because he can kill the Haspis. He kills the Haspis and the, yeah, so he's up to 7, so that's a pretty good place to be. Now you see him draw into his falls. So now we go back to Andrew, who is the host of Take That Smarty Pants on YouTube and Facebook. So he does he basically does a series where he talks about decks and cards and stuff like that, and he's pretty knowledgeable himself on this. And he's a very creative player. He finds like really neat ideas and combos. He likes to think outside the box with the way he comes at the game. So this is kind of like an ideal format for him. I think he's probably having a lot of fun playing. So he's at one of the originals as well. Like these are both original players from the early TCO days when Keyforge was first getting kicked off. So it's fun to see them here playing each other today. We see that he is choosing to go Dees, and with Dees he is able to pull his Exhume from the archives, which I'm guessing he may use to bring back. He won't bring back. I don't know what would he bring back with the Exhume right now. What is the best card he can bring back? Would it be? It might be the ED. I'm guessing. Yeah, I think it would be the ED. Get the max tax off of this pool. Uses Infernus to purge a Cutthroat Research and a Gleeful Mayhem. So 2 cards purged, and on his side he's already had purged 1 Infernus, Babbling Brook, and a Sanitation. What is that card? Sanitation Engineer. Doing his work with the Universal Recycle Bins. So now we see Buzzle get busy. The Buzzle gets busy, does some purging of its own to thin out his deck a little bit, and gives him more speed back to the cards he wants to get to. We see the Wretched Doll doing work, putting in a token on Fran to threaten Fran. So that is good. So Corey is taking some time to think about this play. The Crassiosaurs coming into play and just slowing him down yet again. And he's trying to figure out how he wants to deal with that Amber. And we do see the Tribute in the background, which could be a huge play now that he drew into the Tribute, to where if Corey doesn't add a bigger creature, which he cannot, to the board, and he decides to leave the Crassiosaur alive, then that Tribute now, well, actually, never mind, that's not the Semper, I'm thinking Semperus Rex, so that was a miscue on my brain. So there's no, the Crassiosaurus is actually just holding Amber at this point, but he will be able to reinforce it with the Broododon and try to get back to a position where he can get the Scudum back onto the Crassiosaur. That's the big combo here because he doesn't have a 6 Semper, so he will not be able to do that about. But he will be able to pick 1 Amber off at every turn with the library every turn that he goes into Saurian. So there's a lot of Amber denial right now in Saurian for Andrew. So we see Corey going with the Cascade, the Falls, the Uncharted Lands. And I think you use the Fran here to put damage on the Crassiosaur at least, because it's going to die to the Wretched Doll anyway at some point. But we'll see how he takes it, what he thinks he should do with it. And we see a big dino turn there, as I explained the difference between a drawer and a cabinet to my daughter. All right, but we're back on coraythan, and we'll see where he heads. He heads into Logos. He's playing the Edai, so the Edai and another Edai to archive more and more Dees things. So now he has like a double Gleeful Mayhem, Rock Rub, and Obsidian Forge in the archive, which is pretty good stack there. And he has attacks on keys up to 18 for Andrew, so that's pretty rough. I don't think even 2 SoulSnatchers will get him out of that. But to be fair, he does have in his hand, which Corey does not know, is he does have a second SoulSnatcher, and he does have the Harbinger of Doom, which at this point could be game over for Corey with the amount of amber that could generate for Andrew if he gets that when he gets that off. Right now he's gonna look to thicken up his things. So there is the Scudam going to archive, so that's huge because the Scudam will now clear off that Crassiosaur if he doesn't do it himself, which is a very scary proposition. That's a lot of amber there waiting to be lost. So we'll see what happens with that, and if Corey decides to go after that amber or not, because that amber is definitely now in trouble next turn. Let's see if Corey thinks about this, or if he continues to gamble and high roll, trying to get his amber up. Andrew also was able to get himself to 7 to put himself in a position where those Edis are more important to stay on the board now than they were before, as that's an instant threat of making a key if something were to happen to the things that are stopping the key, which are the Edis, because they're adding 8, which is a ton, by the way. Crucial turn 10 here for Corey. We'll see if he's able to bring the pain and take back his amber on that Crassiosaur somehow, which I don't really see a way for him to do it effectively because of that Brutodon that's basically been warded up and sitting there on defense with his taunt next to the Crassiosaur. It makes it almost impossible for Corey to get to it, and it's going to feel bad when he loses that amber. Guess he could go into Dees right now and then go for the double even if he does a double Gleeful Mayhem, it doesn't get rid of the ward that is on that. I guess he can Festering Touch, use the Festering Touch to pop the wards, and then he can go in Gleeful Mayhem and successfully do it twice and basically get rid of the Crassiosaur to get the amber back, but the swap out on that is that he will be giving up the E-Dies, which will give Andrew his second key, but he will have salvaged all that amber. So this is a very crucial turn in the game and how it's going to swing. So he is going for the D, and he has no way of knowing that this second SoulSnatcher is coming soon either. So in some sense, the this play is going to also allow him to get some value off of the get some value off the board because there won't be two SoulSnatchers for the Harbinger to eat into. So but we'll see what happens here and how this gets played out. So he does pop the thing, and there you go. He pops the first Gleeful Mayhem. Now he's popping the second Gleeful Mayhem, and he'll play the Rock Grub afterwards. So he's up to 23 amber now, and now he's putting pressure back on because he took that amber back. If he had waited one more turn, so he waited the perfect amount of time. If he had waited one more turn, he would have been out of luck because of that Scuttum. So now he puts the pressure back on Andrew because Andrew is going to make his key for 6 here, and he'll be at 4. But Andrew now is going to have to push himself into key 3. And basically, he has the means to do so by playing the second SoulSnatcher and getting value because I don't think he has enough amber control to stop Corey from getting to the 3 keys in a row. So he's got 3 turn clock basically at this point to figure out how to stop Corey. Corey has enough for 4 turns, basically enough amber to make 4 keys at 6. So he's pretty far ahead of that curve, and the Gallum can only do so much to slow it, and it's not going to like overly slow it down. But so it'll be interesting to see what kind of line Andrew takes here as we go forward, because we also have the Forge on board, so it's really like a 2-turn clock because that Forge can make a key just by using the Forge. Like it doesn't have to actually have much target. So he has this turn and next turn to do something with it and get to a place where he can win. And there you go, you see it going up. Coraythan is going to have to dig with his wormholes and his Tato Vapor now to try to counter that, because Andrew has put himself to 10, and that's the only chance he's going to have. So here we go. Tato Vapors, he's digging, see what he gets out of it. He does get to archive 2 of those cards, but doesn't really draw anything great off of it. The Wild Wormhole into an Explorer, second Wild Wormhole into a Garcia, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. I don't think it's going to be enough to stop the game. So good game, Andrew. Game 1 goes to Andrew. 56 minutes. 56 minutes. Reversal. Well played, Andrew. And we will move on to the next round of this series. So interesting gameplay so far. The quality of the game is as good as we expected it to be. So that is awesome, and we'll make sure that we get these guys in line for the next round. All right, so Corey is ready, and we are going to get this game started. He's okay with going second, he says. So we will go second, and we will cut me down. Boom, here we go, folks. Round 2. Will Coraythan be able to pull off the same trickery and bewilderment that Andrew was able to with his deck, or will Corey's deck steamroll the way it should have the first game? Will it have the enough amber to get there and not have answers to? But we do see that Corey already has a Crassiosaurs, and so he already knows that that card does work in this deck, but we'll see how well he can use it. he starts off the game basically blitzing some amber out after Aviator went first and played, I think. But Aviator did get out his uncharted lands early, so that is going to be interesting to see how that influences the game, as Corey's didn't come out till later. So now we see coraythan going into Deist, and he's going to play the Wretched Doll, play Exhume, and play a Dendrix. And then he will pass back to Aviator with 1 amber in his pool. Alright, so Aviator comes back and chooses Deist. He plays the Evil Eye just to get the amber at this point, as their early jabs are getting thrown. Then he plays a Rot Gub, makes Corey lose 1 amber, and he plays Harvest Time. And he calls Harvest Time for Scientists, which was the same purge that Corey did, but he hit an Edeye with it, which is pretty considerable. But in this deck, since there's only 1 Edeye, he's now removed that threat from the deck. So strong play, especially to get it out before he played his own Scientists. So probably wise. So Corey responds with a Saurian turn, plays out a couple of Saurian, and uses the ones that are there to just get some amber back on the board and kind of start to position again. Does have the Gallum, which does help taxes and stuff like that. Now we see the Star Alliance choice, where we see an Armmaster Molina, a Commander Chan, and a Cloaking Dongle attached to Molina. And then we see him use Sensor Chief Garcia to reap, basically getting extra value off of the falls. So coraythan responds back with a Logos turn, remote access, uses the Uncharted lands just because. And then Sanitary Engineer, the Babylophile, the Mimicry, the Mimic Gel that becomes a First Officer Fran. And then he uses the Fran to capture 1 amber, placing it on the Centurion. So Aviator comes back, and he attaches Garcia's blaster to Sensor Chief Garcia, and then because of that, gains the amber from the icon, and then uses Sensor Garcia to reap, and it does 2 damage to the Babbling Bibliophile, and then uses it to increase the key cost on Corey, and then removes 1 amber from the Enchanted lands to gain the extra value there. Commander Chen is used to reap, and he is basically going to use the Iturumi. Iturumi is going to fight the First Officer Fran, Armmaster Molina to reap, and then they're going to remove from a counter from the Enchanted lands to gain an extra amber. And then Fran is going to capture and place that on Molina. So Uncharted lands has already been busy, and there's only 1 amber left, and we will see what comes of that. So we see Andrew stacked up to 15 amber and Corey at 0 amber. It's looking quite bleak for Corey at this point. It looks like Andrew is telling Corey, take that smarty pants with all your numbers from the DOK. See, that's like a double plug. So Corey responds with a Wretched Doll, which is not going to do too much work at this point. He has the 2 SoulSnatchers, but they seem very dangerous at this point to be played out, because I think that just benefits like Andrew a whole bunch to get them on the board. And he has the Buzzle and the Exhume and the Snag, so. He's going to use the Buzzle. He's going to eat the Fran. He's gonna eat that. He's gonna eat the sensor. No, not the sensor Steve Garcia. He's gonna eat the rot grub. And he zooms Redder Gallum to just get some extra tax on that 15 amber, which brings it back into sort of like into reason. And he's gonna choose to play the double SoulSnatcher, which is interesting. It almost nullifies his Wretched Doll token. It's like giving up 2 amber for that Molina now. It doesn't feel as good. There's the steal with the information exchange. And he's back up to 8 amber, pushing his second key. Now Corey has some thoughts and some processes. The good news for him is that he does have the tribute that he can basically maximize right here and put the Scudam on the Thero Centurion. So therefore, he kind of got himself out of a pickle for the time being. Like it's not as bad as it used to be. So he did buy enough time to get to that and kind of try to salvage this game still. So good planning, good luck on the drawing of the things he needed to at least put himself back in the game. And he positioned himself there too by getting the proper tax on with the Red Golem and basically setting himself up to get to this point. So very strong lines of play. This coraythan selects Saurian and is plotting how he wants to do this. There comes the Crassiosaur too, though. Interesting. So he can reap with the Golem and the Centurion, then take all the amber, put it on the Crassiosaur, put the Scudam on that. Like there's a lot of there's a lot of options here at this point. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays this one out. So he kills off his Centurion to give him back the amber. Then he kills off his Redder to get the spike. Now he's gonna play the Crassiosaur. And he's going to take all the amber from Andrew for the deaths that have occurred. Then he is going to play the tribute to get the rest of it onto the Crassiosaur. No, it's going to go onto the Thero Centurion now. And then he can Scudam the Crassiosaur and he can ward both. Yeah, he just realized he kind of messed up. But not horribly. He's still in good position for this. So he has flipped the game around. He's threatening check now, and he has all the amber on these guys. And 10 of that amber is basically dead now. Saurian math is not kind. So, Saurian math is not kind. My response was, I heard it was all about scales. Da da da. Couldn't help myself but to crack that bad pun. Corey already saying that he's lost this game a while ago, so he's not feeling great about his chances here. So Andrew is able to go back up to 7 amber. killing his own creatures and being wise with his damage. Comes the Bone Nith. Back up to 8. Takes himself back up to 13. 14, 15. SoulSnatchers just doing all kinds of extra amber. Crazy. Corey concedes. So Corey knows that he's so far behind here, he's not catching back up, and he's just passing off the game and concedes it. So I'm going to see if Andrew wants to chat about the deck. Yeah. Cool. So we'll have Andrew jump in since he's won his second game and extend the recording for the sake of Vincent, who doesn't likes to look at the bar to know how much time is left, but doesn't want to know that the game ended if it was after 2. Hey. Oh, awesome. So I have with me here Andrew from Take That Smarty Pants, AV8R. Your deck just basically put on a clinic. Why don't you tell us a little about your deck? I kind of gave it a rundown in the beginning, and I saw the Crassiosaur shenanigans, and I think I've played against this deck before too, but yeah, and but the deck is very unique. It's very interesting. So I'm going to pull it up on screen here so other people can actually see your deck list. So as you talk about it, they'll know what we're talking about. And boop, there it is. So there it is. It's a Dyslogos Star Alliance deck, and I'll let you take it away. It's your deck. You can tell us, and I'll just. Mhm. Who's this friend? Do you want to give him a shout out? Okay. Okay. Cool. Mhm. You know what? I actually opened the wrong deck now that I'm looking at it. I was like, this doesn't look right. What am I missing? You can keep talking though. I'll get it. I'll get it right. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, he had in fairness, he had the chance to put all the amber onto the Therosaur and then put the Scudam on, but I don't think that would have changed the game much because of the what you had coming. So, but I did mention that he had a couple ways he could do things, and that he by spreading it out, he did leave amber on the table for you, but I don't think you needed it. And I thought his biggest mistake was when he played both of the SoulSnatchers out, because he was already like behind and giving you like a way to accelerate. I didn't think it was I think that was the one like thing that could have changed the game if he had thought about it a little bit. Like he should have, I think, discarded the SoulSnatchers. He should definitely not have played them when he was behind. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Yeah, and and the thing is like that says a lot too, right? Because Corey is like a top level player, right? Like he's very, very, very good, and his math is not usually wrong. And the thing is that even in this league, this deck it poses problems because it has the SoulSnatcher math, like you said, and it has the Crassiosaur, which people don't see. Even like at the beginning of the game, I was like, oh, Library Polosaur. We haven't seen a lot of that, but it's like a slowly, like a shifty kind of card to have. So Harlan thinks it's funny. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Buzzle is very underrated. Yeah, Buzzle trims your deck and it gives you a skirmish tool, like he's a chainsaw, right? Like it's a great name for it, Buzzle, right? But like he's like a chainsaw. You just rip him and let him go, and he thins your deck for you, and he gives you 3 points of skirmish damage like over and over again as many times as you got creatures on the board. So he does shine, I think, in heavier creature decks where you have like less utility from your creatures, like the come into play effect creatures, like that you want to basically get that value off of and then kick them out the board because like you don't necessarily need them again ever, and then you trim your deck down for your Infernuses and stuff like that are the power cards in this, right? Like, I really like Buzzle a lot. He's pretty crazy. Hmm. It's an ace in the hole. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, Mimic Gel at worst is the best creature on the board. So like it's pretty good. I guess at worst technically it's stuck in your hand because you have no creatures to play and he has nothing to do. So, but that's fine. You wouldn't be in Logos that turn anyway, right? Like. Yeah, that's I agree. Yeah. So, well, I'm not going to keep you too long. I know you got plumbing to get back to. So, um, but yeah, this was a great matchup, great showing. I think does that bring you to 3-0 in the rounds? 2-1? Oh, 2-1. Okay. Yeah, so your guys bracket has been very it's like very like it's balanced the way I expected the balances to be, and so like I'm pretty excited about that. And like there's only I think one group that has been like very lopsided, and that's I think Group D. So I'm excited to see like how the quality of play goes, but I still don't think anybody is out. Like even the O2s that are kind of getting their head down, like they have a good chance to go 4-2 and still make the top four, like because of the way the competition level is here, because the competition's been insane. So why don't you give me a yeah, I was say, why don't you tell me what it's been for you as far as KFPL? How's the experience been? How are you feeling it? How you like it? No. Hmm. Yeah, so like Group A is definitely the group of death, is what I termed it when I first rolled it. Harlan definitely stacked that group with players I know that are of a high quality level, and like it's just nuts. Like I really enjoy watching games in Group A, but like I said, like all the groups are good. Like all the groups have people that are really good and stuff, and I've gotten to learn about some of the world players that I've been very impressed with that I didn't know about. Is there anybody in the league that you haven't heard of or haven't really seen play a lot lately that has kind of caught your eye? Hmm. Is this the ABR, the Ancient Bear Republic? Yeah, let's give him a shout out. You can shout him out. Let's do it. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. Oh, Siaka. Yeah. Yeah. Is it Shaka? Is that how he says it? It looks like Siaka. Okay. Cool. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the process now of redoing some of the graphics and stuff, and I got your AVR banner to add to my collection of banners of people's teams. So, like I said, shout out to the AVR. Well, they came to me because I didn't really know that that was an actual thing. I knew there was a league for it, but I didn't know if it was actually like a collective, So I didn't want to say nothing. But when they asked, I was like, oh, absolutely, and I got put in there. It's like maybe I get to play in the AVR soon. That'd be neat because then I could actually play in something. Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. Mark did. And he's good people, and I've been talking to Blinking Line about stuff too. Like he's been great, and like there's a lot of people over there. Like I've had no negative interactions with a single person that I know from ABR. Joe is a good pal of mine too. So like yeah. So this is kind of a shout out for them too, I guess, because like they didn't get their fair love for me yet. So there you go, fair love. Well, that's a great mission. And how many games do you know that have top level players that is what they care about? Like that's why Keyforge is special, right? Like I'm doing my part. There's a lot of different other people doing their parts as well to make sure that this game stays, you know, active in an age it should die. Like let's be real. Like this game, like without TCO, this game is dead. Like dead in the water. So like there's been so much work by so many people for the love of this game that like it would just be a pity if FFG again poking at you guys, not hating you guys. I love FFG because they made the game. They're the IP, but poking at you, going, "Hey, take a look at us. We care. We care so much about your game that we do this stuff out of our free will and stuff." And like we basically also understand we can't make money off of it because it's your IP and stuff. But there's so much money to be made if you were to just do the things that you should like do for your game. But and I know it might not even be FFG. Like I've told people before, there is an Asmodee chain of command with Pi partners at the top of that, and that's a whole like other research topic for you guys to look into if you don't know what I'm talking about. But go listen to their statements, and they care about board games. They don't care about electronics. So like I don't know. So it's going to take some pushing and prodding from us, and it's going to show us that act of faith, I guess, to make them believe in us. But I think we're doing pretty well. I hope. Hmm. Well, they did shut down. They did recently shut down Asmodee Interactive. So like they did shut down their computer program. So like programming things. So I don't know if Thrones is already in the works or if maybe they're looking to third parties to contract these now. So that could be the one big hope and surprise that catches us, right? And I really want them to be like, see, look, we got you. You were wrong. We had this in the works the whole time. It just takes a while. I want that to be true. I want to be so wrong. I do, but at the same time, I'm still going to do my part to try to keep this moving. So, anyway, yeah. All right, brother. Take it easy. Thanks for your time and great game. Like you guys both played a great game. It was a very entertaining one to watch. So we'll see you soon. All right. So that was Andrew from Take This Smarty Pants, and he goes on to a 2-0 victory over coraythan in the Group A. The Group of Death continues to pull some surprises, and big like side asterisk to them when I asked Andrew about. Is there any players that have kind of stepped up and surprised you? I guess he hasn't seen Rodion yet, but that guy's on a tear. He's 6-0 in the league, and he hasn't even looked like half like it hasn't slowed a beat, man. He's just like going crazy in that division. So it'll be fun to see if he catches a piece of Rodion in the coming weeks, right? So with that said, this is Jupiter from Manlius, New York. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my Saturday. I have a spaghetti and meatball dinner to make for my pseudo daughter and kids. So we're going to have a party for her because her birthday was last Thursday, and I will catch you guys back on Monday, 2 o'clock. Remember, we stream every day, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and we do a recap of one of the games, or I might like just play a game or two against some of the viewers, depending on what goes on. But most of the time, we're streaming games that are relevant and that are fun to watch. So if you could be there for that, great. We're going to continue to try to improve our commentary, and we will talk to you soon. This is Jupiter from Manlius, New York, and I will catch you later.